Marisa Stone with Simon Says Social and the Systems Lounge, and I want to welcome you today to the 2017 Business Systems Virtual Summit, where you learn all about all the systems that our speakers use to get things done. And today I am super excited to have Mea Brown here. She is going to talk to us all about how to turn your passion into profits. So let me give you a little bit of background. Mea is a business strategist and OBM, or online business manager extraordinaire. She helps overwhelmed entrepreneurs take the reins back in their businesses. Together with her, you'll identify key strategies, you'll design infrastructure, you'll build out a team or better equip the one that you have, you'll manage projects, and execute those plans in order to really maximize your profits. And that's really what it's all about, right? Managing those necessary pieces of business actually energizes Mea, but she knows it's not like that for everybody. So she helps to manage all those moving parts so that entrepreneurs like you and I can get back to doing what we love. Mea believes that every business owner not only has a passion, but a purpose, a driving force behind what they love and what they love to do. Mea finds her purpose in her family and in her ministry. She uses her passion and purpose in life to help entrepreneurs really maximize their potential and, more importantly, their profits, because that bottom line is where our eye always goes, right? Why? Because she loves what she does, and guess what? She's darn good at it. Mea, welcome to the 2017 Business Systems Virtual Summit.
Hi, Marissa. I'm so happy to be here. I'm super excited to just meet with you and get to share all of these juicy tidbits with our audience. And guys, this is value packed, so
take notes. Here we go.
Value packed.
All right, so let's begin at the beginning. For those of you who've never even heard of figuring out what your passion is and figuring out what your purpose is, Mea, tell us a little bit about that. What is passion and what is purpose?
So those are like terms that we hear all the time, right? And sometimes when you hear them, they lose their meaning because you hear them over and over and over again, right? They just become just everyday and we get complacent. But your passion, when we think about passion, it's that thing, that internal motivator that drives us, that one thing, or whether it's in business, whether it's in ministry, whether it's just in life, it's that thing that gives us this level of excitement that we wake up super enthusiastic about every single day. And so we all have that. And I think it's different for each one of us. We all have a passion and we all have a purpose, and they're very different. So that passion is the thing, again, that system, that service, that product, whatever it is that we love to do. And then our purpose, that's the thing that fulfills us both personally and professionally. It's what we're created for. It's that thing deep down inside of us that we just know that at the end of the day we have to do. Yeah. And I don't think purpose is stagnant. I think it changes with our seasons of life. You know, my purpose today is different than my purpose, 15 years ago when I was raised in a house full of kiddos. Not the same today, right? But in the entrepreneurial world, it's awesome when we can marry our passion and our purpose. Oh, yeah. There is nothing worse than getting up and going to a job, whether it's a business you've created or you're punching a time clock, and it's not fulfilling.
Yeah.
That's draining, right? And so it is. And one of the things that I love to do is to help women. It really, really is a motivator for me to help them find their passion and purpose. And you know what? You said it earlier, we always keep our eye on the bottom line, and that's so true. But for most of us, that bottom line isn't enough. And so we have to figure out a way to put our passion and our purpose together, that thing we love to do, that fire inside of us that's going to keep us going, that purpose. What are we created for? Put those two things together and create a business around that. Yeah. And I count myself blessed because I get to do that every single day.
Not only for yourself, but for everybody else, which is super.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. That's right.
So do you think you've sort of kind of answered my next question, which was why should entrepreneurs even be concerned about that? But do you think passion and purpose are all it takes to successfully scale and grow your business?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
I love it.
Wouldn't it be great?
You didn't even sugarcoat that. No.
Wouldn't it be great if that were all it took? Yeah. I have a passion and a purpose and I want to make 6 figures this year and that's it. Probably not happening. No, absolutely not. I think, passion and purpose, when we marry that together and we add that to our business, or we build our business around that, when we can identify what that is, and we can get real with that, because there are so many cookie cutter methods out there, and I'm telling you, business is just not one size fits all. It's just not. But when we can figure out what that is and we can build our business around that, that's like step one. Then you've got to have things like, how many times have you felt like throwing in the towel?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So, right. That passion and purpose is kind of what motivates us and keeps us from throwing in the towel.
Yeah.
But it's not what makes us successful. Sorry, still a little bit there. It's not what keeps us going per se from one level to the next. We've got to have skills. We've got to have knowledge. We've got to have tenacity and endurance and a go after it kind of attitude. We've got to be wise enough and mature enough to understand there are days we are going to hustle like we never imagined. Yep. And so that passion and purpose is what gives us the fuel to get through those times when we're really hustling, when we've got to learn more, when we've got to deal with difficult clients, when we've got to evaluate our business and look at where we are and decide, are we going to level up? Are we ready to level up? Is it a good idea to level up? So I wish it was only passion and purpose, but I think that's the tip of the iceberg.
That totally makes sense. So one of the things that you ask your clients is if their products and services are scalable. You ask, are you the business, or is the business going to be able to run without you? Can you talk to us for a minute about why this is an important question to be able to answer as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll even use a case study if you'd like.
Perfect.
Super important, because I think if we're entrepreneurs we are honest, we will admit that we are always pushing ourselves to the next thing, right? To the next level. That's right. We are known for that, right? And so sometimes we got to keep that in check. And so one of the things that most of us get to at some point or another is we do want to scale up. We want to grow. We want to see what's the next thing this business can do. Who's the next person it can help? What's the next service I can offer, or the next product, right?
Right.
But I asked the question right out of the gate because people often say, I want to grow. I'm making a decent income, but I want to get to 6 figures, or I'm at 6 and I want to get to 7.
Right.
And we've got to understand what our business model is. And if you're the business, if you're doing everything in your business, case study, a coach that I had that really wanted to scale up. I said, all right, let's talk about your business. And she said, okay. I said, all right, so what systems do you have in place? Mm-hmm. Well, what do you mean by systems? Well, what are the things you do, what are the things you do every day? What's the software you use? What's automated? What isn't automated? Right. Well, I kind of do everything. Okay. All right. Let's talk about your team. Do you have a team? Maybe not a full-time team, but people you can go to. Your support system.
Yeah.
No? Okay. So let me make sure I understand this. You're your business, right? You do everything. You send to every email. You talk to every client. Mm-hmm. You coach every client. You book every call. You send every invoice. You're the business.
Yeah.
So there's only 24 hours in the day, and at some point you have to sleep. And if you're the business, it's pretty darn impossible to scale unless you're creating courses or, writing a book, something that you do one time and then it just sells, right? That residual income.
Right.
But for most people, that's not the case. And so one of the things we have to deal with is just fleshing out, are they the business? And if they're the business, if the entire business is built around them, that's the very first thing we have to fix before you can scale. because you can only work so many hours in a day.
Right.
And I need to know that.
You need to know that if you're gonna assist. Absolutely.
Right.
So let's say our business is just us.
Mm-hmm.
Now what?
So I'll continue with this case study. So in the situation with this coach that I was working with, she was her business. So one of the first things we had to do was look at the areas that we could systematize, in order to allow her to grow. So we really had to start just back at the basics. Let's talk about everything you do every single day.
Yeah.
And then let's break those apart and see, are there tasks that we can automate?
Yeah.
And are there tasks that we can give to other people? And sometimes I think for most of us who are strong, powerful women, that's really more about control than it is anything else. Yeah.
Guilty.
No one can do it as well as I can, so let me just do this, right? So I think that's where it is. And so we just have to start looking at ways that they can go from a one gal show, so that they can scale, move over to bringing on people, or that's where we talk about building out teams if necessary.
Right, right. So one of the other things that you talk to your clients about on a regular basis is, are they treating their small business as if it were small? What does that look like, and what can we do to move to a better vision with regard to our business?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's one of my favorite questions to ask. And I'm telling you, I get so many different reactions. They're all over the scale. What do you mean? Am I treating it like it's small? What I mean is, you have systems in place as if this company was a Fortune 500 company. And most often the answer is no, because I'm not.
Right.
I'm not. But if you don't have systems and procedures in place, for instance, let's talk about just bookkeeping, just clean numbers, right? If you shove all your receipts in your wallet and throw them in a shoebox and just hand them to your CPA at the end of the year,
right,
treating your business like it's small, because you cannot possibly be looking at your ROI, your P&L. You can't be.
Yeah.
But do you have systems in place to track those expenses and income and see where your dollars are going? It doesn't matter if you're making $500 or $50,000 a month. Right. Do you know where that money's coming from? Do you know which of your products and services are selling best? Where are you making your most profit? It doesn't matter that you're making, where are you getting it? Right. So a lot of entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, if you will, don't actually have systems in place as if their business were big. And here's what I've learned. If you don't do it while it's small, these everyday little tasks, these housekeeping, administrative things that none of us really care to do, because let's face it, they're boring. They don't, they're just boring, right? If we don't have those in place when it's small, guess what? We won't have them in place as we grow, or we'll be growing so fast. What if you grow organically and then you struggle and you're like playing the catch-up game? That's no fun. Yeah. And I think that extends to things, not just bookkeeping, but systems for onboarding your clients, systems for building a team. All of those things, I feel like we need to put best practices into place right at the beginning. Let's set ourselves up to succeed. Let's be ready for that organic growth when it happens. And then, if that organic growth isn't going at the pace that we want, and we want to move this thing along faster, so we want to get real strategic, we're not messing with these small administrative tasks, because we've got those covered. Yeah.
Yeah. And I like the idea that you're putting together all of those, of course I'm the systems girl, so I'm going to love this part, right? That you're putting together all these systems that allow you to work on your business, not inside your business, to proactively run your business, not reactively run your business. And that's totally what I'm all about. Well, let's talk about leadership for a minute. I talk a lot with your clients about leadership and how that plays a role in changing the way we look at and or operate our business. Can you talk to us about how leadership can impact any of that and why we should even be paying attention?
Yeah, I think leadership skills are vitally important. And I think there are two types of people out there when we just talk about business, not catch-all, but we've got leaders and we've got supporters.
Right.
Somebody has to be in charge. Somebody's got to call the shots. Somebody's got to be forward thinking. And that's a leader. We can't have a business without supporters, right? We've got to have people who support that leader who will implement those tasks.
Right.
But we've got to have leaders. It's vitally important. Think about if you had a team made up solely of support type personalities.
Yeah.
Probably going to stall out when tough decisions need to be made, or we need to have a vision casted, right, to create forward momentum and motivation. Right? We've got to have that leadership in place. And I think leadership is, I think it's a skill and a character trait that for some comes naturally and for others it doesn't, but I do think it can be learned.
So what leadership skills do I need in order to power up and scale up my business?
Flexibility would be number one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
We got to be absolutely flexible.
That's the first hat every entrepreneur has to put on.
You better come to the table with no expectations.
Right.
Because it's not going to go like you think it is, right? Some other qualities that I look for in great leaders, and believe you me, I'm looking, when I'm evaluating, vetting a new client, I'm not a good match for everyone, but I'm looking for these leadership traits and qualities. I'm looking for things like flexibility. I'm looking for someone who's honest, who has integrity, trustworthiness. I think you've got to have that to build a team, to build a brand. Yeah. Absolutely important. Good communication skills. And a leader who is a good communicator isn't always a good speaker. Speakers talk.
Right.
There's a difference between speaking and communicating. And I think sometimes it's necessary to get real clear on that. I think some other leadership qualities are courage. You've got to be brave. You've got to have some tough skin.
Totally.
Yeah, absolutely. Tenacity. You've got to push through. No one's going to follow anyone who's constantly giving up, or taking their ball and going home because things are just too hard. So you've got to have the ability to do that. And I think humility, I think for me, I'm a natural leader. I like to be in control, right? And I like to take charge of things, and I have the ability to see forward thinking. I can kind of see all these moving parts and think ahead, right? And so, but I have to be humble enough to know that my way isn't always the best way. And I need to surround myself with people, be humble enough to surround myself who are also strong leaders, who bring things to the table that I can't bring. And that takes a dose of humility to do that. Leaders who aren't humble oftentimes are a one-man show.
Right.
And I think responsibility, because at the end of the day, the buck stops here. For me and my team, the buck stops here. Regardless of what happens, I'm responsible.
Yeah.
And I've got to own that. And I think if you're going to run a business, if you're going to scale a business, if you're going to turn your profits into passion, you've got to be a good leader.
Yeah, I can totally see that. So you alluded a little bit about this idea of control, and I want to dive a little deeper in that for just a second, because I'm probably the most guilty of this, right? You want to control everything that's happening because, yes, at the end of the day, the responsibility is on my shoulders. I've got to make sure that things are happening, things are moving toward my goal, things like that. How would you work with somebody who has kind of that over ambitious control streak? How would you work with that person to move into this role of leadership so that they can build a team?
Well, one of the things, I actually have a client right now and she will tell you herself, she's just like that. She just needs to have her hands in every single thing. And so for me, I'm not really good at sugarcoating things.
Yeah, me either.
I'm kind of like, this is how it is. So, it's learning to, part of being a good communicator, it's communicating with them and helping them to realize that you do have to surround yourself with other people. You have to learn to delegate. You have to learn to look at what you can delegate. It doesn't mean that you can't have a measure of quality control. Right. Because you can, and that's super important. I'm not saying we take our hands off. but I am saying that we learn how to lead other people to do what we want them to do to accomplish our goals, right? So part of that is we've got to help them develop their skills. And so as control people, we have to realize that we can't and shouldn't do all of the heavy lifting.
Right.
If we're going to be a good leader, we've got to entrust the people that we're working with. And sometimes we got to entrust the systems that we're working with, not just the people, right? We've got to push send, or we've got to be like, okay, link this together.
Let's go.
We've got to do that, right? And so we've got to just let go a little bit, right? We've got to loosen that. And again, one of the things I say is I want to help business owners take control, take back the reins. But that's more about figuring out their passion and their purpose, getting control of their company so that they can lead effectively, so that they can delegate, so that they can entrust others.
Yeah. And I think, it's a strategy like anything else, right? Is, turning loose of that control and actually delegating those tasks out to somebody else is a strategy to up level. It's a strategy to scale up. It's a strategy to hit that next goal that you're trying to reach. And so I think it's really, really important to, I liked the way you flipped it, right? You completely changed the mindset. So oftentimes it is that mindset, right? Not only am I, turning this over to somebody else, but I'm empowering that person to do this. And that's a completely different way of thinking about turning loose of control than, oh my gosh, I've got to turn this task, my baby, over to somebody else.
That's right.
So that totally makes a lot of sense. And I know we are coming to the end of this interview, and I hate that because I'm loving this conversation. But is there anything else before we take our much deeper dive in the next interview that we need to know now about turning our passion into profit?
Yeah, I think if you don't get anything else from this, I think if you take away that building and growing, maintaining a business, it's not a sprint.
Yes.
Think about it like a marathon. Take your time, enjoy the process, and finish well. That's the thing that I hope at the end of the day my clients get.
Yeah, absolutely. That is, I 100% agree with that for sure. So before we let you go, how can people reach out to you if they want to work with you, access some of your resources, or just email you and ask you more questions about some of this stuff that we've been talking about in this interview? How can they reach out to you?
Yep, just click on the link below and that'll take you straight to me.
Very nice. Very nice. Guys, definitely take advantage of that. You will find Mae's links below. She's sharing some amazing resources with us today. Take advantage of some of what she offers, because if you're really looking to scale up and you're really looking to turn that passion into profit, make sure you access some of the information that's being shared here. If you are part of the All Access Pass, stick around, because we are going to dive much, much deeper into turning that passion into profit with Mae in just a few minutes. If you're not, I appreciate you guys being here at the 2017 Business Systems Virtual Summit. Mae, thank you so much for all you've shared. And guys, we will see you in the next interview. Bye, everyone.
Bye.